What do you get when you mix jobs, trivia, and a pair of podcast hosts ready for a challenge? That's right, it's game time. Get ready to join the fun on this episode of Career Chats with Katie and Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Hey, Katie.
You ready to play a game?
I'm always ready to play a game.
All right, so you've done this game with me, but I've never done this game with you.
Oh.
We're going to play Guess That Pay.
Woo-woo!
Woo-woo!
Show me the money, honey.
All right, so for today's theme, we have outdoor-related jobs.
Fun.
And you're going to guess the pay, all right? So our first job, these are farmers, ranchers, and other agricultural managers. Okay, not just workers, they're managers. So the managers are going to run establishments that produce crops, livestock, and dairy products. They typically work outdoors, but they also may spend some time in an office since they're managers. Their work is often physically demanding. These managers typically need at least a high school diploma and work experience in the related occupation. Employment is projected to decline 5% over the next 10 years, but despite the declining employment, about 88,000 job openings exist. Most from people retiring, so we do need more people like going into this field. Guess the pay.
That's all I get. Okay.
That's all you get.
When it comes to anything farm related, I have really no clue, just because I know farmers are typically so underpaid.
Mm-hmm.
But as a manager, I'm assuming these are probably the highest paid of the bunch. So I'm going to throw out a number, and I have no clue. I could see this being so wildly off in either direction. So we'll just say 75,000.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
I know. The median was 75,760 in May of 2022.
Gold star me.
Wow. Mind reader. Okay, are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
These are water transportation workers. So water transportation workers operate and maintain vessels that take cargo and people over the water. Education and training requirements vary with the type of job. There are no educational requirements for entry-level sailors and marine oilers, but other types of water transportation workers typically complete the U.S. Coast Guard approved training programs.
So wait. A water transportation worker. Is that just a fancy way of saying like a sailor, a captain of a boat? Because at first I thought these were people like transporting water, not transporting people over water.
No. They are in a boat of some variety, transporting either goods or people on the water. So you're working on the boat. You're not transporting water.
They're not the captain of the boat, but they're working in the boat, helping.
Well, I think water transportation workers is a broad term. So captains might be in here.
Okay.
But you're working on the water.
Oh, well, that makes the salary so broad too. Give me such hard ones, Katie. What's up with that?
I don't have to tell you. Overall employment, though, is projected to grow 2% over the next 10 years, which is just average. And there's about 8,800 openings for water transportation workers projected each year.
That's not a lot.
No, not a ton.
So again, this is one of those things where I could see it being low, but also seeing it be really high. You know, they need the people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with, I'm going to be generous. Or I'm going to say 90,000.
Oh, that's a nice number. That's what you usually say to me. That's a pretty number. It's wrong. So the median annual wage for transportation workers was $66,100 in May of 2022.
Okay. You could tell me any number. I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Number 3. These are conservation scientists and foresters. So these people might not be outside all the time, but it's outdoor related, so I wanted to include it. Conservation scientists and foresters manage the land quality of forests, park, rangelands, and other natural resources. They work for federal, state, and local governments on privately owned lands or in social advocacy organizations. Most of these scientists and foresters work full-time, but schedules might vary. You will typically need a bachelor's degree in forestry, natural resources resources or related field. The employment is projected to grow 4% in the next 10 years, which still falls into average. But listen to this little number. There are only 3,000 openings projected each year.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a tiny field.
Tiny field. I'm going to say around 50,000 a year.
That's also a nice number, but the median pay for both conservation scientists and foresters were just above 64,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I also think that a lot of these jobs are probably in like more rural areas.
Definitely.
The cost of living, I would assume, is lower, and then that wage can go farther.
Yeah.
That's my assumption, at least.
I would think so. Definitely.
All right. Next job is a grounds maintenance worker. Grounds maintenance workers install and maintain landscapes, prune trees or shrubs, and do other tasks to ensure that vegetation is attractive, orderly, and safe. Normally, you're doing this outside in all weather conditions. Some work is seasonal, available mainly in the spring, summer, and fall. The work may be repetitive and physically demanding. It may require frequent bending, kneeling, lifting, shoveling. Workers typically do not need a formal education credential and are trained on the job. However, if you're going to work with pesticides or fertilizers, you might need to be licensed, depending on the state. Employment is average, projected to grow 3% over the next decade. However, there are tons of jobs for this. 170,300 openings projected every year over the next decade.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs.
Well, it makes sense. There's a lot of grounds that need to be maintained in the world.
So guess that pay.
I wish our world was different. It seems like sometimes the harder and more labor intensive the job, the lesser the pay. I'm going to say around 45,000.
That was pretty close. So annually in May 2022, the median was 36,000-ish. They also gave an hourly wage, which was $17.39.
I remember I had a friend in high school that did that in the summers, which for a high school job,
right,
it was more money than we were making, our friends were making. And he always came back super tan and fit. So, there's some other benefits there.
Yeah, I actually had a friend in high school who did the same thing over the summers. And then now as an adult, he owns his own landscaping company.
Nice.
Next up are surveyors. I'm sure we've all seen these people and as a kid probably didn't know the name. They out there with a tripod and then they're...
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So many times I'd see them be like, what's going on?
What is that? Why are they in the road? So surveyors make precise measurements to determine property boundaries. Surveying involves both field work and office work. When working outside, surveyors may stand for long period of times and often walk long distances, sometimes in bad weather. Most will work full-time. You will typically need a bachelor's degree. They must be licensed before they can certify legal documents and provide surveying services to the public. Employment is projected to grow 5% over the next decade, and there's about 3,500 openings projected each year on average. Guess that salary.
All these outdoor jobs just really show me how little I know about outdoor jobs. I'm throwing out numbers like you throw spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. I'm going to go with 70,000.
Oh, you're really close. 63,000 was the median in May of 2022. And of course, that's the median, right? So it's the middle. I would like to note, as with nearly any career, working outside has its upsides and downsides. You need to decide whether the non-standard schedules, perhaps the harsh weather, dangerous conditions prevalent in some of these jobs outweigh the fresh air, love of nature, and sense of pride they may offer. Work schedules for outdoor jobs often differ from the standard 9 to 5, Monday through Friday hours. And boat captains, for example, might be away from home 4 weeks at a time, working nights, weekends, and holiday shifts. So there really is a lot to consider when you're going into these outdoor type of fields.
Yeah, a lot of pros and cons with any job, but I know there's just some people, the idea of working at a desk is just a no-go. So it's nice that there's so many options out there.
There are so many jobs. So I really do encourage those who want to be outdoors to really dive into the options.
I love it.
Well, good job, Robin. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. Career Chats is hosted by Katie Huddleston and Robin Coney. Show notes and guest info can be found on our website, careerchats.show. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love you to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, stay curious.